think it's around 70%.
It's a high percentage.
It's a high percentage.
Changing.
Absolutely.
Okay, let me finish my comment first. Peter can add to that. But what I want to say is the last time we met, we had thought we would have to ready by November 1st. I think that's a little too tight, so we've backed it up to October the 1st. That just means having the documentation ready for the owners to vote. So that gives plenty of time before the next election for people to get the information, read it, make a decision, and things. So that's the attempt.
Yeah, we're going to get a better answer to that one, but there is one view that if the board adopts the changes unanimously before the owners vote, the owner vote goes down to 50% plus one. If the board does not unanimously approve the recommended changes, then it goes to 75%.
Whose opinion is that?
Whose opinion is that? I haven't seen that in the bylaws. That's not into that. You can't.
Well, we're looking into it. I'm just giving you information that it may be that, but we're looking into it. The other thing is that we're also, in order to redo the, well, we're going to get legal advice on that, so when we have a better answer, we'll give it. We're going to have a look at all the rules and how we live together, but in some places you have to change the condo documents before you can adjust the rules. So we'll be looking at next fall a set of rules that we will consult with owners on. And the board can pass those rules with 14-day notice. But we can't put new rules in until the condo docs are approved. Yes?
I'm a member of unions and many organizations. I've never seen a situation where the board votes yay or nay, and basically everybody here is only here as a curiosity to see what let me finish, you know, and what happens by the board having the vote, it creates a dictatorship. You know, if the board should only be able to make recommendations to the members, and the members vote on whatever the board proposes. That would be a bylaw change.
The way that the condominium is governed is you have your declaration of condominium, you have your bylaws, and you have your articles of incorporation. The bylaws govern the way that the corporation itself is run. The declaration governs the way that the association is run, and there's a legal difference between the two. For normal business items, you could call it, the board of directors is the one that runs the community, and that's what you see them up here doing. They're taking issues, they're being addressed, they're hiring an auditor to look at the bank accounts, things like that. That all falls under the normal day-to-day operation of the association, and the board acts the association acts by the board at a public meeting such as this, unless it's privileged and confidential under the statute, but that's not the situation we have here. Certain things require that the members have input and vote on. One of those things is if you're amending your declaration or your bylaws, that has to be approved by the membership. So when the time comes, when our firm is done with our review of the documents, and again, there's a lot of them to review, that's why it takes so long, we will make recommendations to the board, and each one of you will get a notice of a special meeting. There'll probably be a town hall meeting before that so that we can tell it to you informally. And then there will be a special vote, a special time when we all have to come together, and you, the members, will have the opportunity to vote on whether these changes are accepted. So it is by far a dictatorship. I think you're confusing some of the day-to-day operation with some of the big changes that involve changes to the documents. So that there is a difference between the two.
My concern is not to point fingers, but the previous board was more, it was all predetermined what was going to happen by a group of 5 people. Yep. And that was it. Yep. Nobody had a say. It was a clique.
Right.
Yep. Well, I'm concerned, let me finish.
Yep, I thought you were done, go ahead.
I'm concerned that the same thing could happen here without these people having a vote.
You can.
I mean, who agrees?
Right.
That's why we hired them to do the day-to-day operation.
I think just since March 2nd, you have seen a tremendous turnaround in the way that the association is run. By my recollection, I think the board has had 3 public meetings in the last 3 or 4 weeks. And that pales in comparison to the way I understand things were done before. These are all open meetings. Each one of you has had an opportunity to voice your concerns, to discuss what concerns you, to raise issues. There was a woman that was here last time who had a question about her door and whether that was part of her unit or part of the common elements. And the very next day, I got an email from Peter saying, please look into this. And we have someone looking into that right now. So I think the lines of communication have been put wide open. This board is responsive to your concerns, to your inquiries. They have gotten that information to us, and we have turned around and gotten answers to them either right away, or we've told them that we're working on it and we'll have a response shortly. So just the fact that we're all here tonight and the fact that you can get up and say that, I think shows that at least things have changed, and this is a much more open community than maybe it was a year ago.
You have to move on, because well, go ahead, Jordan.
Aren't you governed by Tallahassee anyhow? I mean, you don't just come up with these ideas yourself. Tallahassee tells you what you can and can't do as a board. And if it means 5 members outrule the 9, they outrule the 9.
Right. When I mentioned how the association is run, like you've got your declaration, your bylaws, your articles of incorporation. Those are essentially all contracts between the association and you all as unit owners. Above that is the statute. That is what your legislature enacts as the law of the land. So you have that contract, which is the agreement between all of you, and then above that you have the law, which is the statute. So we do everything according to the statute. If the statute is silent on a particular issue, then we look to the documents. And that's
But the
the way
statute, doesn't it state that 5 members out of 9, if they vote one way, that's a majority rule?
It's a combination of the statute and the governing documents, because the declaration and the bylaws tell you how many board members you have, and then statute says that decisions are made by a quorum of the board. We look to the statute, and a quorum is a majority. So if you have a 9-person board, then you're going to have at least a majority of 5 at a meeting in order to conduct business. And you can see we have more than 5 here tonight.
Okay, we should move on because there's, okay.
Can I just say one thing?
Yeah.
We all elected you as our board because we hope you will make changes and we can trust you. And we need to give you a chance to show what you can do to help us.
Yes.
Right.
So I think people
It's not
should
gonna be done
just sit
overnight.
back and give it time and see what happens, not to already make accusations that are unfounded. So they need a chance.
Well, one other comment that I just thought of, perhaps responding more to this gentleman's original question. One of the platform positions that this board had, I believe, was in changing the documents that they would enact term limits.
Right.
You don't have a dictatorship with people that are automatically trying to limit their terms. We've also proposed staggered terms so that you have, instead of a brand new board every year, you have a mix of people that have experience in running the community and a mix of people that are perhaps newcomers to the process. So I think that's just another example of how things have changed in the last 30 days.
Okay, so one more person. Go ahead.
Peter, yeah, I was just going to reiterate that one of the reasons why Peter mentioned having that committee of looking at our old documents, because they are very antiquated and they don't give any room to all because we have a very, very big board in comparison to a lot of other boards. So it doesn't give a lot of freedom, it just gives all power to anybody who's elected in the board. And you were just saying that you wanted to look at the documents to give a little bit more freedom and put more power into the unit owners.
Well,
give them that
we
option.
certainly want to empower owners, and we have the committee structure, but you can join. So if you want to get involved as opposed to just firing a complaint, get involved with the committees and help us change the place. Period. Get involved. Okay, so that's for the condo docs and rules. Deb, you got interest, now all you need is a couple more volunteers. Okay, contract review, it's for Joe Bernadette.
Okay, good evening. The contract review is this week. I should be seeing some engineers. This week, we should be seeing some engineers so we can get a quote and getting the buildings inspected. It's getting pressure and they want to start painting. But before we do the painting, we have to get the buildings repaired. We want to do it and do it correct. So that's why we're getting quotes from engineers to see what has to be done, what has not to be done. That's about it. So I should be getting it this week. So I hope. Robert Miller told me you should. Yes?
When were the buildings last inspected?
Good question. I don't know.
You don't have any documentation on that?
We're trying to find out. We realize that there's a lot of work to be done before you get to painting.
The last time they started doing the balconies.
Maybe it's not major work, but the engineer will tell us if it's major or not. We don't want to start playing around with rods and then we get stopped by the city. We want to do it right. And we're probably going to repair a building and then we start repairing the next building and start painting one building at a time. I hope the people will not get mad, why that building first and not mine? They will get done. So that's about all I can say right now.
So we don't have anything in the minutes that tell us these buildings were inspected a year ago or anything like that?
Do you have anything?
Look, there's been a 40-year